When you cross swords with a Sardaukar, you know it. Anyway, welcome to Z Reviews and a Tubes and Boobs Spectacular. I'm reviewing this, the TA66, which has been on my desk for like the last, been on for IMs and the Inner Fetish channel. Check out my Inner Fetish channel. And on this channel for like, I don't know, 10 reviews. Because it was sent to me. And guess what? It was one of only 2 that APOs had. They sent one to me and they kept one in the warehouse. And because they didn't know when it was coming out. And then we had a discussion about it. And they're like, you know what? We don't know. Xduoo is not telling us specs or prices. So just shelve it for a bit. Oh, by the way, it's out today. I was like, oh my God, what happened? So at least I know about this amplifier. And what I know about it, it is designed to be a Darkvoice killer, which is why the Darkvoice is out of mothballs. Haven't used this thing in a while. Jesus Christ, it's hot. But I said, if I'm going to compare this to this, I would be remiss not to mention the TA26 and the other Xduoo, which is in drop form over here, which is, I think, the TA84. There's no name on the front. I think it's TA84. So I've got my job ahead of me. I brought out the JDS Labs Element 3 to be my palette cleanser. My solid state, clean as a whistle. This is normal. These should all be not normal. I just want to point out, by the way, for $10 a month, you get into my Patreon and you get to ask me questions directly. I don't think people understand that. I had that chat. We used to be bumping, and it's just slowly going down. I want more bumping. So $5 a month, see reviews, early, yard sales, sound demos. $10 a month, ask me questions directly. So if you want to talk, give me a Chinese food lunch. Anyway, we have to discuss, well, first of all, headphones. I've decided to, when you're doing a tube thing, you got to know your headphones well. And obviously HD600s, fucking world class. Everyone knows they're great with tubes, blah, 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 standard. I have the Koss KPH40s, which I think respond amazingly well for scaling purposes. Like, I could tell you one thing. I know KPH40s never sounded better than the Mascobo 465, which was $17,000. So at least, I'll be able to tell between a solid state and a couple of these tubes, even if they're not super hard to drive. And then these were the shock. I decided that, because I hadn't, if you don't know what these are, if somehow through the fucking grace of the devil, the JT1 FIO headphone review is not out yet, and you're getting this first, just know, fuck, and I hadn't tested on tubes properly, and now I've got plenty of time on them. And I'm going to go with them for this little listening session here. This little sesh, using the Purple Asylum collab cable from Cadmus 8W Effect Audio. Yeah. JDS Labs, or any solid state for that matter, headphones, clean, aggressive, forward. And I going through my playlist, just whatever decides to play on my playlist, and then pulling out a giggity, and then slamming it into the Darkvoice. Which I want to point out, stock tubes, PS Vane tubes, stock tubes, whatever the TA26 comes with, stock tubes in the TA66, and I wasn't gonna, but I kind of have to. I'll explain why in a second. And very modified tubes in the Darkvoice. Like, I got a gold dragon, and it's got a Z on it, and I got something back there that's like an old, what are you, RCA tube? So this is like the Fast and Furious. This is the tuner car that shows up with the wings and the underglow lighting, and it is kitted out, got nitrous. It is way beyond what the stock form of it should be able to be capable of. So I'm not putting the TA66 against a standard Darkvoice with stock tubes. I'm putting it against the best possible combination that I've used this for years and honed it to this. And even if I didn't say it beat it, the fact that it matched it with all this shit going on with these tubes means it wins. And then, by the way, this is only $250. I think the TA26 is more than that. So, like, when I got this, I expected like $400 or $500 because they didn't know the price. Then they said it was a Darkvoice competitor. I'm like, well, isn't this like $300? So then you can't make a $500 Darkvoice competitor if it's more money. So it's actually less money than the Darkvoice is. Although you can get the used Darkvoice for like $200. So it's less money, about the same size. The thing is a fucking monster truck. The TA26 looks like a baby comparatively. And then so does a little 84. But here's the biggest issue that's going to bother a lot of people. They come with non-standard tubes. The tubes, they're not non-standard. They're just not the same 6SN7s, because Apos, who sent me the amp, was like, oh, good, we have the 6SS7 power tube, and we've got the 12AU7 pre-tube, and that's great. Neither tube is normal. The preamp tube, the little guy, is a 6N2, which that means nothing to you if you're not a tube person. And the big one, the buffer tube, is a 6N5P. Who would have guessed? Not Apos, because they were a little like, oh shit, you can't use our tubes in there, because they don't make those tubes. So we had to go down to stock tubes, and I'm comparing a stock tubed version against a Darkvoice, against the JDS Labs. And I just say it. I can almost not tell a difference between the Darkvoice and the TA66 on two out of these three headphones. I am burning the midnight oil, by the way. It is legitimately like midnight. That said, the little bit of difference I can tell, I think might be because of the non-standard tubes in this. So I'm going to give the round to the TA66. First of all, this is a monster for $250, just size-wise. We've got, I'll give you the tour of the unit. It's got this very Hellraiser, or, in my opinion, more Event Horizon style slashes through the front. It's kind of nice. I like it. 1/4-inch jack, no balance on it. Big red knob that isn't a smooth adjusting knob that gets dirty. It is a click. Big fidget spinnery knob. Here with a blue backlight behind it. And you know what? I'm going to say this right now. If we're picking a winner based on colors of blue lights, it'd be the Drop, because it's fucking red. It was so bright and blue, this Darkvoice, that I actually have blue tack or white tack mostly covering it to sort of just give me a dull glow. This is acceptable because it's behind the knob. That is also covered in gray tack to sort of just stop it. Let's plug that. I feel like I'm not listening to enough music. Put on some music. So let's do palette cleanse again. Boom. Red and blue indicators that I painted onto this with markers because. Okay, take the power back. Rage Against the Machine. Kick drum. Kick drum. Like, completely different shape of the sound. I'm going to back it up, actually, so I can keep listening to the same thing. Kick drum. Kick drum. This is softer and wider than that. Just a little bit. This is the most forward and aggressive because it's solid state and it's just giving you what these headphones are. This keeps that strong center image, and obviously adds like a tube width to everything. But this is pretty much as tubey as you'd ever want a tube. It is a completely different animal. It almost sounds like I got to keep turning the volume up to match it, because it's like, no, this is louder than that. No. This is just a completely different shape of sound. These other ones were hard to tell. It was hard to tell on the HE600s and the KPH40s between the two. But with these headphones, which you should all own at this point, right? You've all seen the, you haven't? They're $69. Buy these headphones. If we move over, if we want to continue the journey, much narrower. I had actually called the TA26 the Darkvoice beater at the time, because I was assuming stock tubes in that, and this is still a good tube amp. But it's like compared to this. I will say, volume here, there. Volume here, there. Volume here, there. Darkvoice feels way more powerful, but I know if you turn it up past half, it's basically unusably loud and distorted. It always has been. If I've ever pushed a Darkvoice past half, it's like, you've done something fucking wrong. So this one, rocking it at noon on a relatively okay to drive headphone. And then all the way over here, probably the bassiest of this whole selection. The drop is just balls. Balls. 28 days later, solid soundtrack. The piano music of Battlestar Galactica, that's my playlist for sure. Oh, Space Dandy. I realize with the way this currently is set up with the microphones, you can't really hear it's coming out of my headphones. Even if I put them like here, I gotta figure out how to make it do the go. God, these are so fucking nice. That little bit of bend that I put into the headband. All right. I gotta sum all these up. All right, pause music for a second. I'm gonna sum all 4 amps up because you're not gonna spend any time here. You're gonna click links and you're gonna fuck off and go make breakfast or something, or dinner, or get vanilla ice cream. Get Nature's Promise vanilla coffee creamer, and get off-brand Oreo cookies. And you smash up the Oreo cookies in a bowl, and you pour a little bit of vanilla creamer in there because creamer is like 30 calories per like quarter teaspoon. But you just got enough in there to make the cookies moist. And you scoop the vanilla ice cream on top. And you stir that shit. Best cookies and cream ever. Make your own cookies and cream. Just a little bit of life advice in the middle of this review. This one's got the most bass kick. It also has a notchy knob. It's like they were preparing. This one actually might have a nicer notchy knob than this. Like this one is quiet. And you like, it feels like it's rotating in. And this one is not quiet. I mean, it depends. You like a quiet knob or a loud knob? Because quiet knob, loud knob. These are both straight potentiometers, so you don't get a notch out of them. This is the bassiest version, I think. Pretty sure. It also distorts at the top of the amount it is distorting. This one, I've been using this one forever. It sits there. I feel like it's got almost enough power for anything I've ever needed to put on a tube amp. I mean, obviously not tungsten or anything that's planar, but dynamics, I have no issue with the TA26. The fact that, I'm going to check. I got to see what the price is. I got to see what the price is. Hold on. $250 for this is dumb. Let's see what the TA26 looks like. Because I'm remembering it, and I'm like, what do you mean you can't be found? Go to hell. There you go. It's $319. This is a more expensive tube amp. Why is it more expensive? This uses a 6N 8P, Adopt 6N 5P. That's why I'm also using stock tubes in that one. So it does use a 6N 5P. This is just a bigger 6N 5P in that one. Xduoo needs to either APOS needs to make Ray tubes that are for these, or they need to go and do 6S and 7 so that everyone else can use the damn things. See, now my brain, here's the problem. My brain is going, this is a cheaper amplifier than this. This should be better. But I like the sound of this one better. Mommy, why is it so confusing? Why is the cheaper one better? Is it because it's newer? Is it because that tube is slightly taller and mentally it's like, oh, it's a better thing because it's taller? I love the sound of the TA66. I didn't leave it on my desk because I'm a piece of shit. I left it on my desk because I'm like, ooh, I like this. I am enjoying the current scenario that this headphone is playing through, which is not currently playing, so hold on. Oh my god, the touchy volume on the Darkvoice, I had totally forgotten. By the way, the Darkvoice is so hot, I'm worried it's going to melt my keyboard. I don't remember the Darkvoice getting this hot. Like, maybe it always did, but it's like, that's as long as I can touch that. This is warm. This will keep your hands warm. This is also hotter than the 66. What are you doing? You're about the same as the TA20. A little cooler. And I've had these things on for hours, the whole fucking day. A, because I keep coming back to the desk and being, I'm not ready yet, and going, listening and then leaving. But B, just because you want to get everything warmed up. I want to hear no bullshit, although these are in the middle, therefore they're getting radiated heat from the sides. Shh. I even added the sticker to the top of the 66 because every one of these have had a sticker on them forever and ever. By the way, the DACs feeding these I think these two are coming off the distribution DAC from Xduoo Labs. This is coming off another Xduoo Labs DAC. This one, with the slight bass bump, is actually coming off a Matrix audio DAC, because I just ran out of Xduoo Labs DACs back there. So if you want to, keep track of your homework. I think if they sound, if I can't, fuck man, tubes. You know what? Comparing these two is almost irrelevant. This thing is so old. It has been old hat for a while now. And I was glad when 2 years ago, the TA26 came out and I gave you something else in the price range of $300 to compete with the Darkvoice. Slightly stranger tubes and a slightly smaller form factor, which I thought was going to work better on a desk. Xduoo also makes the, well, actually, they're back there. The sideways ones, which you could do, fuck, I can't remember the model numbers of those now. They're hybrid tubes, though. These are real tubes. Everything on here is a real power tube. There's no MOSFET. Well, I don't know if actually there are MOSFETs in a tube amp. I don't think there are. But there's nothing in here that's helping the tube power your headphone. They are not hybrids. These are real deal. This and this both do an exceptional job of not sounding like this. That is the job of a tube amp. Don't sound like solid state. Take the sound, do something to it. I don't care. Crush it up into a ball, run it through the dishwasher. Just do something. And these do lots of something to it. This does something to it also, although I'm sort of sensing in this lineup here that this is actually one of the cleaner sounding tubes. Like it's not doing as much tubey stuff as maybe you want. I still enjoy it. But then there's the 84, which either because of the DAC or because it's using 4 tubes instead of just the 2 like the rest of them, is just a little bit like, it's not even a warmth thing. It's it's straight bass. So TA84 is doing a little bit of more of a bass boost. Could be the PS Vane tubes. TA26 we're going to ignore for a bit. Darkvoice, completely fucking crazy modified, is my gold standard for tube amps. And the fact that this one, out of the gate, with no modifications, sounds as good and yet wider and softer than the Darkvoice. I'm not going to like declare it the mass winner and throw the Darkvoice on the floor. I'd never do that. I respect this too much. But if they came out with a TA66 to kill the Darkvoice, they're doing it. Just from a price standpoint, $250 for a tube amp this big. We've got vent holes on the side, by the way. Oh, we should probably walk around the back, which I should be able to do even though my head is attached to the ceiling. Like literally my head is attached to the ceiling. I put a thing on it so that the battery can't fucking die, and hopefully it won't. They're all identical. Well, no. Rear power switch, rear power switch. 66 is a rear power switch. 84 is a rear power switch. These are front power switch. Darkvoice is front, this is front. But they all have the same exact RCA, inputs and outputs, inputs and outputs, inputs and outputs, inputs and outputs. That's it. Just one set of RCAs each. This actually does have a voltage switch in the back for 110 or 220. Same as the 84. This may have it on the bottom. I'm not 100% sure. Ooh, look. Stuff in the back. I was asked by the vacuum tube chat, which is an offshoot of the patronage chat, which I was telling you about the $10 chat. Why don't you just, Zeos, hook one to the other, to the other, to the other, and then see what 4 tube amps in a row sounds like? And I said, that's stupid. Don't do that. It actually would work. If I got RCA cables and hooked them from the output to the input to the output to the input to the output to the input, I would be able to preamp 3 times and then have a 4th tube amp. My only concern with that would be adding too much power to each jump, and at the end you destroy the last amplifier. It's a possibility. You're adding voltages. You'd have to tune everything perfectly. And I feel like if I was going to do that, I would want to do it with some sort of multimeter so that the RCA could actually like run a pink noise sweep, test your DAC straight, run it through the tube, test it again, match the voltage from the straight DAC, then plug it in and test the voltage, and then plug it in and test the voltage. So if you'd like to see that, I will absolutely do it. It might be a second channel video where I just try to preamp as many things in a row as possible and see what comes out the other end. Maybe we could talk to God. Can we talk to you? I think that's Mai. That's Mai? Yeah, that's Mai. We'll see if we could talk to Mai. Anyway, I'm just giving you all the heads up. TA66 is out. TA66 is cheap. TA66 competes with everything on this table and is the widest and like the music actually steps the fuck back with it. So whatever they're doing, the design of it, it's fantastic. Now we got to find 6N5P tubes so I could swap these tubes, especially this little guy. I want to try this little guy. I want to see a not 6N2. I want to try a different tube. I did put a 6S and 7 in there. The little. No, that's the 6S and 7. I did put the little tube in there, the 12AU7, and it was like, nope, bias right by like 70%. I'm like, oh god, something's wrong, because it does fit. So you got to be careful. You got to know these aren't the standard run-of-the-mill tubes that you usually have for tube amps, legitimately. All right, I'm exhausted. I'm not sure if even this was a coherent episode of Z Reviews, but thank you. Wallpaper in the Wallpaper Horde. I will link to all of these, because guess what? APOS still sells the Darkvoice. They sell this, and the only one that they're not on APOS is this, and that's going to be on Mass Drop. I don't know if they've added it to Amazon yet. A lot of drop stuff end up on Amazon, which makes sense. Just put it where the people are. I do have to dust off this tube, however. It is very dirty. Yeah. Links to the JDS Labs. It is still, I would say it's the goat, but it's more like the cow. Do you get it? Because there's a cowgirl here. I get it. She gets it. You didn't see me test with these headphones, but trust me. You plug them in. You put them on. Song always ends. No. I hate this song. What is this? Short music for short people. Interesting album. If you've never heard of short music for short people, it was an album that came out in like 2001 or something. And it was just a bunch of like grunge bands like Blink-182 or whatever the fuck genre you call that. And it was just like, hey, make a 30-second song. We're putting on this album. And so they did. And there's like 70 tracks. 40, 80, 82. There's 82, 89, 90. There's 100 tracks. Wow. Short music for short people. 100 tracks on a CD. And I hate most of them. Anyway, I'm done. Back to your regularly scheduled programming. Fucking Darkvoice, man. Fucking Darkvoice in the 600s is like classic. Fucking classic. I gotta turn it up. Devilman Crybaby. Anyway, Patreon subscribe star. I already described what you could do on there. See reviews early, participate in yard sales, lossless sound demos, all the sound demos that have ever gone missing. $10 a month. Talk to me directly in a big patronage chat with a bunch of people. Once you're in that, you get into a lifetime swap meet channel to buy, sell, and trade gear. Check out the Hi-Fi Guides forums. Should I go back to Reddit? Reddit's big now again, apparently. So I don't know if I should go there or just go back to the Hi-Fi Guides forums and do shit there. You let me know. Anyway, I'll be talking to you later. Also, there's new stuff happening on Patreon where I like take your questions and answer them in private videos. We'll see how that's going because I haven't done it yet. And don't forget to check out the second channel and the Inner Fetish channel. All IMs are on the Inner Fetish channel. And I have used that for IMs, and it's not super noisy. Should probably mention that. I can't tell if you could hear that. But yeah, and the second channel is just like when I go to trips, and it's like a 4-part video series. I can't dump that on the main channel. The algorithm gets mad at me. So I put it on the second channel and then direct you over to it. Good, good, good. You good? She's good. We're good. I'll see you all. My chair is noisy. Goodbye.